Coming up on today's show, Ford invites Wave 1 customers to spec their F150 Lighting pickup trucks, but dealerships spoil the experience for everyone. The governor of the state of New York mandates all school buses become electric by 2035, and researchers figure out a way to bring seemingly dead lithium-ion batteries back from the grave. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to Transport Evolve News, or TN for short. It's the first episode of 2022, so I just want to say I hope you all had a very happy new year. Make sure you hit the bell and subscribe, and if you're so inclined, become a patron over at patreon.com. We are producing our biggest budget videos yet, so anything you can send our way would be gratefully appreciated. Today's show is also sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. New name, but the same great organisation that could help you transition to a cleaner future and help you finance your own clean energy or transportation purchase. On Thursday this week, Ford began sending out invites to pre-reservation F150 Lighting customers, giving them the chance to convert their pre-reservations into confirmed orders. The process is heavily staged, with Ford telling customers to expect invites to be sent out in waves. Only 1 or 2 customers per dealership have been invited to configure their trucks, with reservation holders reporting a lead time of between 20 and 30 weeks before their vehicles will be ready. But the whole reservation process has been soured by some, but not all dealerships, adding unbelievable markups to customers' orders. In a communication to dealerships on Friday, Ford told dealerships that they can mark up prices, something it can't stop due to pro-dealer legislation in many US states, but it also said it doesn't want them to charge extra for vehicle deposits and warned dealers that they are hurting the brand's reputation by doing so. It also told dealerships they could write in a clause preventing customers from selling their truck for 1 year, presumably to prevent scalping of initial limited production stock. And as a reminder, many F150 enthusiast sites are keeping records of which dealerships are being jerks and which ones aren't. Just saying. It was CES 2022 this week, and that means that we've been running around covering the show virtually. And one of the biggest stories from the show was the opening keynote, delivered by GM and its CEO, Mary Barra. At the event, we got to see the Chevrolet Silverado EV for the first time, something we've already covered on this channel. But GM also announced it will soon launch an all-electric Equinox crossover. Built on the Ultium and Ultifi platforms, the former being drivetrain and battery, while the latter is in-car tech and software communication, the company confirmed a target starting price of $30,000. It's looking far more interesting than a gas version, and GM says we can expect it in late 2023. At the same time, GM also confirmed an electric Chevy Blazer EV to go on sale in the spring of 2023, and if I had to guess, I suspect it'll share some of its design language with the Silverado EV and Camaro. But maybe the Blazer name should go. Myself and Michael were in Detroit earlier this week for a COVID-safe preview of the Silverado EV, so keep your eyes peeled for those videos coming to the channel very soon. At the IAA in 2017, Volkswagen revealed the ID. Buzz electric microvan for the very first time. Built on Volkswagen's MEB platform, we were told it would come to market as an electric reimagining of the iconic Type 2 microbus. And this week, after nearly 5 years of waiting, Volkswagen confirmed that we'll get to see the production version of the ID. Buzz for the very first time on March 9th. In recent months, we've seen more and more spy shots of the ID. Buzz in testing and can already tell that it's going to be a little less stylish than the concept car. But frankly, as big fans of the original Type 2 and Transporter here at the channel, we're all a little excited to see what Volkswagen packs into this mid-size vehicle. We don't know yet what Volkswagen's plans are for the reveal, or indeed if in-person attendance will be an option, given just how much COVID-19 is raging right now. But when we know more, we will share. Making the transition to cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles is essential if we stand a chance of reducing the impacts of anthropogenic climate change, and that means all vehicles, not just personal ones. So this week we were pleased to hear that Governor Hochul of New York has proposed a law requiring all new school buses to be zero emission by 2027 and all school buses in the state to be zero emission by 2035. There are currently about 50,000 school buses in New York State, and going all electric would be the equivalent of removing 650,000 passenger cars from the road. Governor Hochul's goal is an ambitious one and follows in the tyre tracks of the city of New York, passing a mandate last year to go fully electric for its school bus fleet by 2035. Here's hoping other metropolitan areas and entire states follow New York's lead. As the most powerful Tesla Model S variant ever made, Tesla's Model S Plaid has received mixed reviews to date, with some marvelling at its sheer straight-line performance and others questioning its cornering and braking prowess. But this week, Tesla announced a brand new track mode for the Model S Plaid that will be pushed over the air to customers' cars. It will bring much needed and long-awaited torque vectoring and modified stability control into the mix, as well as bring an improved thermal management for battery pack and motors when the car is being driven to the absolute limit on the track. In a blog post on its website, Tesla says the update will monitor the car's position and driver input in order to try and figure out what the driver wants the car to do next, and will allow the car to offer torque bias on corners, improving turn-in, on-centre steering, and out-and-out power on straightaways. We can't wait to try it out, so if you have a Model S Plaid, let's talk. Following hot on the heels of Volkswagen's announcement that its ID. Buzz will get its public reveal on March 9th, Mercedes-Benz has revealed an all-electric camper van based on its in-production EQV. Built by van conversion specialist Sortimo Walter Rugg plc, the conversion includes a pop-up roof, sleeping compartment and kitchen. Now, for those watching in North America, where RVs tend to be a tad larger, in fact the size of a small UK county, you might be looking at this vehicle and wondering where the rest of the amenities are. But in Europe, camper vans do tend to be a whole lot more modest and a whole lot easier to drive. Right now, Mercedes-Benz says that the van is available through what it calls a two-invoice transaction, which means you pay for the EQV and then you pay for the conversion. There's no mention of price for the latter, but I'd guessed it's not particularly cheap. Then again, camper vans aren't all that affordable, especially Mercedes-Benz ones. With a range of 236 kilometres, 147 miles, it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but for touring Europe at a leisurely pace, I think it's pretty perfect. When you think of cars that are capable of popping wheelies, the chances are you'll think of the drag strip, where classic muscle cars and one-off builds regularly lift the front wheels as they put stupidly large amounts of torque to the road through custom drivetrains and tuned V8s. But as any electric vehicle enthusiast will tell you, electric motors can provide incredible amounts of torque, the thing that tends to lead to wheelies. Most automakers work to eliminate wheelie levels of torque, but this week we learned that the Hummer EV, while still in development, had such incredible torque at the wheels that it was more than capable of lifting the front off the ground. Talking to The Drive, Al Oppenheimer, chief engineer of the Hummer EV, told the publication that the front-end lift had to be tuned out, presumably we'd guess for safety reasons. Hummer already raised eyebrows with its "What's to freedom?", but now we really know where the WTF name came from. As I said earlier in the show, going electric is a team effort for all types of vehicles, and this week at CES 2022, Doosan Bobcat unveiled its first all-electric compact track loader. The T7X isn't exactly a catchy name, but this skid-steer front loader does everything that a Bobcat name would suggest, all powered by a 62-kilowatt powertrain. There's no word on the battery pack, but it can do everything that ICE Bobcats can do, without any noise or emissions. Additionally, the company is eager to note that because this loader does away with hydraulic compressors and pistons to move its attachments, using electric motors and actuators instead, it requires far less maintenance. In fact, the only thing that really requires changing on its system is its electronic system coolant, a propylene glycol that is far better for the environment than hydraulic systems of old. When we have more news on pricing, we'll share. Tesla is already known as one of the leaders in the EV space when it comes to range per charge, with only the Lucid Air sedan managing real-world ranges in excess of what Tesla currently offers. But our Next Energy Inc., or ONE for short, from Michigan, has managed to get a 2021 Tesla Model S to travel an astonishing 752 miles, 1,210 kilometers, on a single charge. How? By fitting it with the company's prototype Gemini ONE battery. It's a dual chemistry battery pack that has an energy density of 416 watt-hours per litre and an overall capacity of 203.7 kilowatt-hours. The pack is split between a small pack built for daily use with a modest 152-mile, 242-kilometre range, and the remainder is built using a different pack chemistry designed to maximise range per charge over performance. Let us know below if you'd like us to do a feature on this battery pack. Sticking with batteries, it's no secret that many EV owners worry about gradual and natural degradation that takes place over time as lithium-ion batteries age, reducing usable range and performance over the lifespan of the car. This degradation is caused by lots of different things, but ultimately leads to lithium deposits no longer transiting through the battery during charge and discharge cycles. Ordinarily, batteries are outliving the cars they're placed in, provided they have been well designed. Nissan, we're looking at you. But when traction batteries are no longer usable in a car, they're often sent away to be used in second life projects where instantaneous power drain is far lower and the batteries can continue functioning. But ultimately, they have to be recycled. Except researchers at the Department of Energy's SLAC National Accelerator Laboratory, working alongside Stanford University, have successfully figured out a way to bring seemingly dead batteries back from the grave. It's still very much experimental, but researchers have figured out a way to get so-called dead lithium deposits to reconnect to one of the battery electrodes, allowing the battery to regain some of its lost capacity. Again, let us know below if you want a more in-depth exploration of this fascinating breakthrough. It's almost time for short shorts, but first, a quick question. Have you thought about becoming a patron? Well, we do have multiple sources of income on the channel: YouTube ad revenue, a little third-party production work, and white label version of this show for a client in New Zealand. The overwhelming majority of our income comes from the kind support of people just like you. This means that we can stay independent and impartial while ensuring everyone gets paid a fair wage for the work they do. At the same time though, as the world of cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles expands, we've got more work to do than ever before, and that means hiring more people like our recent video editor hire, Michael. So if you want to help us grow, please consider supporting. There's a link below. And now it's time for short shorts, and we're going first to start with a bunch of stories from CES this week. Bosch revealed an e-bike built in association with Trek that combines Internet of Things AI processing, which it terms AIoT, to enable the bike to suggest rides that you might enjoy and provide traffic-aware routes guidance, and to constantly improve through software updates. Indeed. As with Nvidia, which we covered in a short video earlier this week, Qualcomm also announced the details of its open and upgradable digital platform, allowing a scalable and integrated in-car experience with situational AI and autonomous driving capabilities. A similar presentation was also given by Ambarella, reinforcing the relentless march that we're seeing towards ever more features in ADAS systems. Ambarella provided more information about its CV through CV5 chips, which powers its L4 autonomous vehicle systems. Blink, known for the Blink charging network, also announced details of its more compact 50-kilowatt rapid charging station, which happens to be bidirectional charging ready, along with an updated range of fleet, commercial and domestic charging stations, all with plug-and-charge capabilities built in. EvoCargo demonstrated its hydrogen range-extended electric autonomous logistics platform this week. Already in operation at a variety of warehouses, logistics centres and construction projects, the company announced plans to introduce the vehicles to the US this year. New Turkish automaker Togg unveiled what it calls the Transition Concept Smart Device, a SUV with exterior designing by Pininfarina. The design shares some elements with its first car, an electric compact SUV slated for production this year, but it is unclear whether the concept is intended for series production. Seattle-based Pure Watercraft, a company backed by GM, demonstrated its electric pontoon with seating for 10 at CES. The boat has a top speed of 20 knots and is powered by a 66 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Pricing starts at $45,000. Lightning E-Motors revealed its Lightning E chassis for commercial vehicles this week. Available for Class 4 and Class 5 electric vehicles and a variety of options for commercial vehicle applications, it's planned to enter production this year. Startup Indigo unveiled its delivery and rideshare-focused EVs at CES, promising a range of over 250 miles from just a 45 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Indigo state its efficiency comes from its robotic wheels and promises a much lower total cost of ownership than conventional vehicles. Vietnamese automaker Vinfast also announced that it would become an all-electric automaker by the end of this year, along with moving into international markets. The automaker promises to bring two EVs, the VF8 and VF9, to Europe and the US, along with a battery leasing program. Damon Motorcycles from Canada revealed its Hyperfighter motorcycle, built around its hyperdrive, a structural battery and integral motor, controller and charger. With a planned 146 miles of range and 150 kilowatts of motor, this is a bike we're excited to see enter into production. REE Automotive, which is trialling its P7 Class 3 through 5 commercial electric vehicle platforms, has announced that its prototypes are undergoing evaluation with, quote, one of the world's largest delivery companies. With nearly 400 plus miles of range and flat load floor, we're kind of curious to know what the mystery buyer is. Stellantis announced that Amazon has just become the first commercial customer for the Ram ProMaster battery electric van that's slated to launch in 2023 in the US. The vehicles are destined for Amazon that are specifically spec'd with special last-mile delivery features. With those CES short shorts out of the way, let's look at the other short shorts from the week. Micromobility Systems, the company behind the diminutive Microlino, revealed that the supply chain bottlenecks have led it to postpone production of the microcar until mid-March 2022. The company reports that it's managed to produce some vehicles for testing. From March 1st this year, French car adverts must come with a health warning. The warning is that it's better to walk or cycle for short journeys, that people should use public transport or carpool instead of taking their own vehicle. The French Minister for Ecological Transition of France stated that decarbonisation is about more than just electric vehicles. Ionity hit its goal of 400 ultra-fast charging stations across Europe 1 year behind schedule. However, it's also recently announced it intends to invest €700 million to build an additional 5,500 charging points by 2025. Chinese automaker GAIC announced pricing for its Aion LX Plus, an SUV with a range of 625 miles on the NED test cycle. The vehicle, which was announced in November 2021, will start at the equivalent of $72,000. Early Lucid Air Dream Edition customers' cars will receive an update to add driver assistance features that were expected but missing on delivery. This includes adaptive cruise control and a variety of safety features, and the OTA update will reportedly ship this month. In addition to announcing the Silverado EV this week at CES, Chevrolet also announced an off-road-focused variant called the Trail Boss. The vehicle features skid plates, hill descent control, a lift kit and off-road-oriented tyres, while all being electric. It's expected to be available alongside other model variants from 2023. In the UK, Shell is opening its first EV hub, converting an existing conventional fuel station to have 10 175 kilowatt charging stations, a coffee shop and a Waitrose, all underneath a sustainable solar roof. The hub is planned to open early this year. Nikola Motors has abandoned its $2 billion patent lawsuit against Tesla. The suit had alleged that the elements of the Nikola One were copied by Tesla in the creation of the Tesla Semi, but in a joint filing this week, Nikola Motors and Tesla have dropped the suit. British Lithium reported the successful extraction of battery-grade lithium from mica. The process involves quarrying of granite, which is then crushed and ground up. The company says it will extract 11 pounds or 5 kilos per day in its pilot plant in preparation for commercialisation. Porsche has announced its best year of US sales ever. The Taycan made up 13.5% of all sales, or 9,419 units. All in all, it sold more than twice as many Taycans as it did in 2020. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares stated that he is unconcerned with the group's late entry into the EV pickup market. The Ram 1500 EV is expected to arrive in 2024, and Tavares says that the maker is continually refining it in response to other companies' products. Tesla is putting in place infrastructure to support the first deliveries of its Tesla Semi to PepsiCo. The first megacharger site at the Frito-Lay charging facility in Modesto, California, has 4 charging stalls, each with an output of up to 1.5 megawatts. GM has reported that the first edition of the Chevrolet Silverado EV sold out in just 12 minutes at the reveal, although the company is still taking reservations for its non-first edition variants, as in how common the car is and how many there actually are available, the company didn't say. So this could be huge news or nothing much. Toyota looks to be continuing its long run of not producing fully electric vehicles. While it is producing an EV, and it has announced it's looking to ship its first solid-state battery-equipped vehicles, the solid-state battery is going to go in hybrids first. Lucid has long planned to expand its production and sales to countries outside of the US, and this week it confirmed that it will begin to start shipping cars to customers in Europe sometime this year. The Middle East is also expected to start Lucid deliveries this year, with China beginning next. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. It's long been known that electric vehicles are lower maintenance than their internal combustion engine brethren. After all, there are very few moving parts in your average electric car, and aside from the occasional reduction gearbox oil change and coolant swap, they should run for years maintenance-free. And this week, we got some great evidence that that's happening in the real world. A Tesla Model S P85 in Germany that has just crossed 1.5 million kilometers, or around 932,000 miles. After 290,000 kilometers, 180,000 miles, the original battery pack showed a problem, which caused Tesla to replace it with a loaner battery pack, which ultimately was then swapped out at 150,000 miles, or 93,000 kilometers. But since then, it's been using the same battery. According to the owner, Hans-Jörg von Gemmingen, it's likely that the car will cross 1 million miles of travel soon, and we can't wait to see how many more miles it clocks up in its life as a taxi before it retires. And finally, we've covered a whole different bunch of electrified transportation today, but what with it being winter in the Northern Hemisphere, I couldn't not mention this next story, the official start of production of the world's first electric snowmobile. Enter Canadian company Togg Motors and its trio of electric snowmobiles. Production began this week at its Montreal facility in Quebec, with deliveries expected to start early this year. Prices start from $17,500 an equivalent, and the company says it will deliver to customers in North America and Europe this year. Depending on which version you'll choose, you'll have up to 132 kilowatts of power at the tracks, a sprint time of under 3 seconds, and a 27 kilowatt-hour pack that can travel up to 140 kilometers per charge. That's about 87 miles for those in Imperial Land. Having experienced snowmobiles powered by gasoline, I cannot wait to get a chance to test one of these and experience the near-silent snow-traversing fun. So if you're watching Togg Motors, let's talk. And on that note, we are done for the day. But before I go, a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a new clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell, both for this channel and for Transport Evolved Take 2. And of course, if you're feeling so inclined, do check out our swag store. We're always welcoming of new Patreon supporters, or you can send us something through Ko-fi or Bitcoin. Anything you can send will be graciously appreciated and will go towards paying the salaries of the 5 people on the team, or making sure that we can recover our costs that were associated with us going to CES before, COVID came along. But until next time, thanks for joining me. Stay safe, wear a blinking mask, and until then, keep evolving.